Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. There's one out to go. Wanted to keep it right on, so we'll watch the last out together. If anybody's on here with me. 2 guys on, runner on first and third. And Lucas Licky came in for Oldest Chapman. So Oldest struggle. He is his first game back. He didn't have any command tonight, really. So let's watch this together, the last out. Let's see. There is one ball, 2 strikes, Licky on the mound. 2 outs. Top of the 9th inning, baby. Let's see how it finishes. Let's see. Come on. Still fouling the ball back. Why the title? Well, it's a little presumptive, but I'm feeling the Yankees are going to be sweeping in a second. Rizzo's back because it's his first game back from being away from COVID. So he got his 2 negative consecutive tests. And I will look a little silly if the Yankees don't win this game. So I'll have to change the title if that doesn't change. But I didn't think the game was still going to be going. So we'll watch this last out together. It's still 2 strikes. Lucas Licky's on the mound. 2 outs. Let's see. Come on, man. Come on. Damn, still 2-2 off-speed pitches. Ball in the dirt. Dodgers, Yankees, World Series. Andrew, very possible, man. Yankees have the firepower, but they're going to have to get through Houston or Oakland or Tampa Bay. Like they're going to have to get through some juggernaut-type teams in the American League just to get to the Dodgers. So it would be nice, though. It would be really nice. Love all the kind of. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, Andrew. Thanks for your support, man. I really appreciate you guys. And we're still watching this last out together here. So 2-2, 2 outs. We got triple 2s here. So he better get this out so that I don't have to change the title of the video. But God, 3-2. Oh my God, this is a stressful 9th inning. Yeah, I mean, Mike. Well, Chapman just came back. It's his first game back from on the IL, and he never has command his first couple games. Like he's all over the place. His fastball just didn't have it tonight. He gave up a monster home run, and I'll do a recap in a second as soon as the game ends. But he just didn't have it, and this is like textbook Chapman. Every time he comes back from a long break or something, or he's always like this for a couple games. He's all over the place, and it just wasn't his night tonight. But I'm glad Boone actually took him out and didn't. Here we go. What a play by Velasquez. Yankees win, baby. Sweep. Yeah. Oh, ground ball to Velasquez to Rizzo. Phenomenal. Love it. Get that. Yes. So, thanks for staying with me, guys, and watching this together. Yeah, I don't think they're going to challenge that and that's not going to be called back. But Yankees sweep Boston, baby, before Minnesota comes in now for a 4-game series. But the Yankees took to all 3 games from Boston. Boston won the first 7 games of the year this year against the Yankees, okay? Turn the volume down here in the remote. And, and the Yankees kind of started crawling back. The last one was a 3 out of 4 series, and they swept them this time. So, different Yankees team. So, let's go through a quick recap here. Andrew Heaney, this was his best game as a Yankee. I knew it was bound to happen. He went 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 108 innings pitched. Aside from a home run he gave up in the first inning to Xander Bogaerts, opposite field to the second deck, he was money tonight. Absolute dominance. So, great job, Andrew Heaney. I got to give him credit where it's due. He stunk the first 3 games, but he really rebounded tonight. So, great game. Second inning is when the Yankees put up a 4 spot. You had an RBI sac fly by Gardner to make it 1-1. And then you had an RBI single by Velasquez to make it 2-1. And then a 2-run infield single by Anthony Rizzo to make it 4-1. So, and then it was that way until the 8th inning. Britton came in and threw a clean 1-2-3 inning. That was also good to see. It's also he's kind of getting his confidence, maybe a little bit of his velocity and his mechanics back. So, and then in the bottom of the 8th, Gary Sanchez hit a double, which is good to see his bat back too, because he's only his 2nd day back from COVID. And then we see an RBI single from was it Velasquez? Yeah, Velasquez RBI single driving Sanchez to make it 5-1. And then in the 9th inning, Chapman gave up a mammoth home run to Hunter Renfroe, 456 feet. he got a couple of outs, but then he let 2 guys on. He let 2 guys on. So then he was replaced by Lucas Licky, who just finished the game. So it looks like, oh, look at this. They're challenging the play now. Let's see what happens. They're challenging the out, and it looks. I don't think there's enough to overturn it, but if it does get overturned, then we'll be here a little bit longer. This will be the first, the drama-packed recap. This will be phenomenal. Let's see what happens here. Here comes the decision. He's out. Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win, baby. Fantastic. Velasquez to Rizzo. Welcome back, Anthony Rizzo, too. He had a nice game. Yankees phenomenal sweep. They're still on a roll. Hopefully they take this momentum. And when Minnesota comes into town now. Let's get to the comments. So that's the recap. Let's see what we got here. Brandon, yeah, well, they called him out, Brandon. So they're going to challenge it, but it looks like they called him out. I didn't think there was enough to overturn it either. So thankfully they didn't overturn it. And thankfully this game didn't keep going. So and what else we got here? Broom, yeah, get that broom ready, Steven. Broom. It's good to sweep the Red Sox after they swept us in the beginning of the season. That sucked, getting swept by them early, but it's good that we're sweeping them late. So let's keep this rolling, man. The Yankees are playing really good baseball. Really, really good baseball. Yeah, I mean, you have to challenge. Thankfully, the challenge did not get overturned. And the kid is, yeah, I mean, he's a good shortstop. Velasquez, he's a New York product, Fordham prep kid from the Bronx. And, I think his dad is a lieutenant in the NYPD or the fire department. He's one of the New York's finest or New York's bravest. He's one of them, and he wears his necklace. If you ever watch him, he's got his dad's kind of medallion on his neck to honor his dad. So it's pretty cool. He's a New York kid, and he's a good defensive player, and he's really, really. I mean, he's a better defensive player than Gleyber Torres is, but he's at least at very worst an adequate replacement for him or a substitute in the meantime. So until he comes back, so. Justin, well, I'll tell you this. Chapman sucks when he comes off of a break for a couple games. There's no doubt about it. I cannot dispute that. And again, once he starts to get into that rhythm again, then, it'll be nice. And hopefully he does. And hopefully him and Britton continue this dominance now that we have Chad Green kind of on a roll again and Johnny Lasagna on a roll again. So the more guys we have in the bullpen on a roll, the better. And which is good. So, by the way, Rizzo back and Chapman back. They made 2 corresponding moves. They sent down Jonathan Davis, the speedy outfielder, the light hitting but ridiculously defensively gifted speedy outfielder. And I think it was Brooks Kriske they sent down, if I'm not mistaken. So those are the 2 moves that they made to bring these guys back up to the roster. So, am I worried about the Jays, Brandon? I'm always worried about the Jays. I'm not as worried about it now as I was a month ago. But that said, I'm not ruling them out. No way. It would be stupid to rule them out, all the talent they have. And they also added Berrios. So I think it would be foolish to rule them out. They can go on a run at the same time the Yankees can go on a slide. This stuff happens. Just like the Yankees went on a run when Boston went on a slide, the same thing can happen vice versa. So I don't rule any of these guys out. It's not, to me, it would be foolish as a Yankee fan to do that. Yeah, Lasagna is a more dominant pitcher, and he's really coming into his own. And thankfully, he's not a free agent for, if I remember correctly, 2024 or 2025. So we still have several years left. I think it's 2025. They traded Luis Sessa. He was 2024. I think Lasagna is 2025. So I'm glad we have some of these arms around. Chad Green's not a free agent until 2023. So we have him next year as well. So, and they have a lot of arms in the bullpen. So that's good. And then some of these other guys, Ridings and Holmes and Joely and Rondi, they're all contributing, which is great. And yeah, and Chapman, Mike, you're right. Chapman has been inside his head. When he's dominating, he's absolutely fearless, and he's just a beast on the mound. But when he's all over the place, like he lost confidence in his fastball. I don't know why. He invented this new nasty split finger, which he's abandoned. Now he's going to this off-speed stuff, which everybody's just demolishing. And then people can't hit his 103-mile-per-hour fastball, which he's not throwing as much, which doesn't make sense to me. But I get why sometimes he doesn't throw it, because it's like 9 feet above the plate. It's at the floor. It's all over the place. So I can understand why he abandoned it sometimes, but he's got to work on this. And this is why I'm a proponent of when these guys come back, put them in a game in AAA first before they come here. Let them see where the mechanics are. Let them make adjustments there and then come here, or 2 games there and then come here, instead of throwing them to the wolves right at the major leagues. I think it's a more sensible move. All the players, let them play a game or 2 in the minors before coming back, to get the timing back of the back, to get the mechanics back on the pitching. But that's just me. Brad Hand crapped it. Yeah. for the Blue. Good. I'm good. I mean, I'm glad to hear that he crapped the bed for the Blue Jays. So Yankees do well against Brad Hand. Our rotation is definitely better and more deep than the Blue Jays, but I still wouldn't rule out that lineup. Their lineup is deep. It's talented, and my fear is playing a team like that on a wild card game, or playing a team like whatever Oakland, and they get hot and we get cold that one day, and you have that one game to make it to the ALDS. So it's just they have to hit it right. You know what I mean? That's why if you win the division, it's better because you're already in the ALDS waiting for somebody to play. But wild card, it's just a more dicey, hit or miss scenario. So, but I get it. Going for the division is going to be tough. Tampa Bay is really, really good, really, really good. Complete Justin. Yeah, no, I see Brandon and Justin. Yeah, I mean, you guys both make valid points, and I'm not surprised that we're in disagreement, but you guys make valid points. So trade Voit and Torres for a pitcher and keep Velasquez at shortstop. Wow. Aaron Weisberg, who do you think? Where would you trade them, and who would you trade them for? I mean, would you trade them in one package? Because if you trade them together in one package, you're gonna have to get a huge haul in return. Velasquez, I don't know. If they traded Torres, the only thing I can see them doing is bringing in a Corey Seager or somebody like that. Velasquez's bat is not where Torres' bat is. Even though Torres' bat is very inconsistent, they would want to replace that offense for Voit and Torres, and that's a lot of offense that they'd be giving up. But that said, if you trade him for I don't know, Luis Castillo and somebody else from the Reds, then it can become palatable. But it's going to have to be a huge haul for the Yankees, no matter what. But that said, Ryu and Berrios and Ray better than everyone besides Cole. Well, I don't dispute that. I mean, but that said, Tyone's pitching really well, so I don't want to sleep on Tyone. Nestor Cortez out of nowhere, he's like a silent weapon too, a secret weapon. I didn't even mention him yesterday as part of rotation, so somebody pointed it out, so I appreciate that. So I wouldn't sleep on the Yankees, three-headed monster or four-headed monster. But yeah, Cole is, the one or two best pitchers in the American League, hands down. And one of the top three pitchers in the major leagues, hands down. So yeah. Look up 538 rotation strength is ranked by far the best rotation in the AL East. Yeah, I mean, they're top loaded with Cole, and then they have I think some of the rotation, and despite the injuries, some of these other guys are surprising and overperforming, performing just way above expectations. So I think we're really fortunate to have Cortez pitching like he is, and Ty to have found himself again, and as mechanics again after two straight Tommy Johns. Like we're fortunate for that, and to have some of these other guys. Heaney. Heaney might have turned a corner tonight too. He pitched phenomenal tonight, phenomenal. So hopefully he has more games like that, because it gives the Yankees another weapon in the rotation in case they need it. I'm not banking on Severino at all. Okay, I'm not banking on Domingo Germán too much. Germán can come back, but he at least gives them flexibility to play long relief or starting rotation. So I think they have options. But, Cole is obviously the hands-down number one. In the wild card, you lose your ace for game one because you got to pitch him in the wild card. That's the thing. And what, like, if we play – I know the A's just lost one of their pitchers who was hit in the face yesterday, and hopefully he comes back, makes a full recovery. I don't know if he'll be back in time for that, a wild card game, but like if you play Houston for the wild card, I'm betting on Cole. You play the A's, I'm betting on Cole. You play Toronto, I'm betting on Cole. But it seems to be the A's and probably Houston are the more likely. No, not Houston. Houston's probably going to win the division. The A's and well, I don't know now. It could be Toronto if they overtake Boston. So in the American League East, but it could be another team too. I don't know. But I'm picking Cole over anybody in the American League wild card game. Anybody. Blue Jays, yeah. Yeah, I know Tampa Bay was beaten up on Baltimore today too. So the Yankees aren't picking up a game in the standings, but they are picking up another game on Boston, extending their lead over them in the wild card, which is great. So I'll take that. John Chapman put a damper on the game, but I'm glad. Normally, before a month ago, Booney would have left him in there, and he would have just blown the whole thing to shit, and the Yankees would have lost the game. I'm glad Booney came out and got him before it got really bad, even though he gave up a home run and put two guys on base for Licky, and I'm glad Licky, even though he had a stressful at bat, I'm glad he got the game out and preserved everything for Chapman and just the team, so that it didn't go to hell. So I'm glad Booney did that, and I give him credit for that because he wouldn't have done it a month ago. And we've seen these situations where Chapman gave up that grand slam to Walsh from the Angels, that game-winning home run to freaking Alonso from the Mets, like where he just imploded. He started the implosion now, but at least Booney came and cut some of the band-aided some of the bleeding. So I'll give him that. Stanton is a fly in the ointment. Trade him, Torres and Chapman. Ooh, man, or Britton to the Dodgers. Well, I think the Dodgers would probably do well to get a Britton or Chapman, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Jansen's on a decline. I think he's a free agent after this year, so they will need another reliever, and they have the resources to do it. They have the prospects to do it. So I would not be surprised if one of them gets moved. Stanton, I don't know where you're going to trade him to. Who's going to take that money? I mean, the Yankees would have to assume a boatload of money. But I mean, I don't even know who you could trade him. If you can't trade him back to Miami, Derek Jeter's laughing right now, saying, thinking he fleeced us. So you can't really argue with it either. So like, the Yankees still owe him a bunch of money, and he's got I think 4 or 5 years left, I think, on his deal. So that's a big deal. It's a 13-year contract, man. It's a big ass contract. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad, Robert. I'm glad that Boone took out Chapman too. Again, I give him props for that. And the Yankees, they've taken over New York again. The Mets took it temporarily for a little bit. The Yankees are the best team in New York again. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it, man. Just to go off of what Brent just said about the feeble Mets. I just wanted to add something to it. John Q, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, bro. I will. I appreciate your support. Thanks for the kind words, man. I'm going to continue doing this stuff. I'm going to continue making the channel better. And I know I can't always get to everybody's questions or comments, but I try to keep it because sometimes it moves so fast. So, but I try my best. And if I don't get to you, keep commenting. I'll eventually get to you. So, and I'll be sprucing up the background. I'm moving in a week or two, so I'll have my Yankee Stadium backdrop and all the other stuff, and I'll be sprucing up things here too. So, some better things coming to the live chats and everything else too. So, Jesus, that's right, the only New York team. Damn right, man. Amen to that. Amen. That's right, bro. How does that Lindor that Lindor contract looks a little bit onerous right now? I mean, I hope he's 26, so I mean, there's plenty of time for him to really, really turn it around. And he had a crappy first half of the year. He started to turn it around, but any 10-year deal for $300+ million that's a rough contract, man. But I'd rather do it for someone who's 26 than for somebody who's 30. No doubt about it. So no doubt about it. Because even and I mentioned this in the offseason, you go 5 years into Lindor's contract, he's then Aaron Judge's age. 5 years into the contract, then he's Aaron Judge's age. That's why I'm hesitant and leery to give Judge anything over 6 years or something like that, because it's risky. It's dangerous, man. Davian, appreciate the kind words, bro. Thank you, man. I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate you. What else we got? When Torres and Urshela come back, they lose. Yeah, they'll probably move Odor around. I mean, honestly, they're both coming back from pretty significant injuries. Urshela more so because it's his hamstring, and that limits his movement front to back and side to side. So I would be easy with both of them coming back. That's why I would still play Odor. Give these guys an off day. Give them a DH day or something like that too, to keep the stress off their legs and let them ease back into things. Use Oswald Peraza too. And the rosters are going to be expanding probably around the same time that these guys are coming back. So I wouldn't hesitate to use all the players and give the regulars a break, even if they're coming back from an injury. Last thing you want to do is throw them right to the wolves, man. It's just to me, it's too risky, and it's backfired too many times, man. Brandon, yeah, I mean, Stanton's contract is onerous, man. Onerous. Even though, the Marlins ate a chunk of it, and they ate some of our, they ate like Starlin Castro's money and stuff like that, but we're still paying him like $25 million a year for the next 5 years. So it's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money. Justin, yeah, they are the most valuable organization in sports. That's right, man. They're right up there with like Manchester United and Real Madrid and those teams. So, yeah, I mean, Lindor, yeah. Good points, man. Good points. I mean, the Mets definitely depend on Lindor more than the Yankees depend on Stanton. But it would be nice to be able to rely on Stanton more. As long as he stays healthy and productive, because he can be dominant, and he's shown that, and he can hit the coverall. He hits 200-mile-an-hour ground balls. It's ridiculous. So he's got the power. He's got the stuff. He just needs to stay healthy and stop swinging the pitches 20 feet off the plate. So, because that's where he looks really silly. wonder if Cashman is going to go after Rizzo and try to sign him. I would. Well, Mike, it's valid, man. With Rizzo, I really think it depends on what they do with Voit. If they move Voit, then it makes more sense to bring in a Rizzo. But then what do you do with DJ? Okay, then you play DJ at short. You're going to keep Torres at second and Gio at third. Then it makes sense to re-sign Rizzo. But I think a lot of it depends on what they're going to do with Voit, man. I don't know. I mean, they would do well with either one, and Voigt's got 3 more seasons left of cheap control. Rizzo's going to cost close to $20 million a year. So that's something to keep in mind too. And there's one of the things I wanted to mention is, and I don't know if you heard this today, and this is going to affect their spending. So MLB made a proposal today. So you know how the salary threshold right now is $210 million, the first barrier? They're now proposed today to the union that the first barrier be $180 million, which is $30 million lower than it currently is now. So that's going to hit teams like the Yankees pretty hard, and Dodgers and the other teams that spend over $180. They're just a proposal right now. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but they're doing it to raise revenue to fund a floor of $100 million for all teams. So the teams that are spending $40 million, like the A's, that teams cannot spend any less than $100 million. They have to invest more in their teams. And I can see how it'll bring some competitive balance to baseball, but that's really going to penalize the higher spending teams quite a bit. So I don't think the MLB Players Union is ever going to agree to that one, but that was proposed today. So 180 million first layer threshold at 20%, and then there'll be this, ascending layers of 32%. I think 50 after that. I think those are the 3 layers right now for thresholds. But any dollar spent over $180, I think between the next threshold will be taxed at 20%. So and then moving upwards. So that's the proposal. I don't see it happening. I like the $100 million floor, but I don't like penalizing the bigger spending teams just to get that happen. They shouldn't be penalized for teams that aren't investing in players in baseball and down below. If teams want to invest in luxury boxes and not players, that's on them. Don't penalize the Dodgers and the Yankees and teams like the Red Sox, and don't penalize them. That's not fair. Those guys invest in their teams. Okay, the people on the bottom don't want to do that. That's not the Yankees' fault. Not the Yankees' fault. That's the way I feel, but it's. I found that pretty interesting, and if anything like that gets agreed upon, it's going to affect baseball kind of balance, competitive balance, and payroll spending and stuff like that. So back to the comments here. I mean, who's gonna? What's up, man? Tim King, what's good, man? Dude, yeah, the Twinkies are coming. Twinkies are coming for 4 games. I expect the Yankees to win that series. Would a sweep be great? Yeah, but I'm not expecting it. I think they're in a position to win the series, and the Twins are, not playing as well as they did before. They're minus Nelson Cruz, so the Yankees should have no problem winning that series. So, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'll be watching them, and I'll be doing recaps for all of them. That's for sure. Dude, yeah. I mean, well, Lindor fleeced the Mets, and so did Cleveland, man. I mean, not really. Well, Cleveland. I think Cleveland blew it. I think the Mets fleeced Cleveland. Excuse me. Cleveland should have traded Lindor a year before that because they could have gotten a haul. Okay, they got two shortstop prospects from the Mets. Not one of them was the number 1 prospect for Lindor and Carrasco. Okay, so the Mets fleeced, in my opinion, Cleveland. They gave him that big contract, and Carrasco hasn't turned out to be well. But that, I mean, my God, that means the Yankees. I mean, if could have given up, I don't know, Estevan Florial and a Clark Schmidt and gotten freaking Lindor and Carrasco. But that's the way I look at it. But the Mets definitely fleeced them. Fleeced Cleveland. And again, they waited too long. This is why I said, if you're going to trade Judge, don't wait too long to do it. Otherwise, just re-sign him now and get it done. Okay, but that's another situation. A lot of people have different opinions on Judge. So, Tony, dude, when Chapman misses, he's all over the place. He misses big. When he's dominant big. And it's just there's no kind of middle ground with him. And that's another frustrating part too. It reminds me of John Wetland, closer for the Yankees in 1996 when they won the World Series. The Yankees could be up by 4. He would give up 3 runs and load the bases and then get the saves. He had 40 saves and a 9 ERA. I used to have heart attacks every time I watched him. And you guys remember John Wetland? Oh my God, this guy, he reminds me a lot of Wetland. So, so stressful. No way Cleveland got nothing for Lindor and Carrasco. Yeah, it's Yeah, the Mets fleeced Cleveland, man. The Mets won that deal 10 times over. Brandon's on point, man. Brandon's on point, dude. The Mets crushed that deal. You know, and Cohen, he was aggressive. He's shown that he wants to win. I don't think he's done yet. I think he's going to spend this offseason. They made some moves. I don't think he's done yet. He wants to show them that, you know, that they can go for the World Series. So he's going to be aggressive. He's, you know, he's got that Dave Dombrowski fearlessness in him, and as an owner, I don't think he's going to stop until they're in the World Series. Yeah, I'm not sure he threw 300. Well, it's too early to tell whether he threw that money away. I think Lindor is going to be fine. It's hard to justify a $300 million contract. It really is. It's just Max Scherzer to me is probably the best free agent signing in history. That $210 million deal for seven years, $30 million a year, worth every penny. Every penny. I would have done it. Yeah, that to me was the best signing ever in history of baseball. Free agent signing. Kluber and Herman. Yeah, so Kluber and Herman. Yeah, I mean, well, at that point, the rosters, I think, will have expanded to 40, so they won't have to send out anybody when Kluber and Herman come back. So my guess is they won't come back until the rosters expand. That way they don't have to send down anybody. So, and I don't really know, honestly, because I'm not sure Kluber's ever going to be at full strength again, or Herman, at least this season. So I don't feel comfortable sending somebody down if they're playing well for these guys. I mean, like, again, these guys are two prime examples of getting a couple of rehab starts in the minors to show that they're ready to come back. I don't see why the Yankees should not do that or would not do that. I would do that in a heartbeat. They absolutely need to show that they're ready to be back. And I don't just draw them back up to the major leagues. That'd be foolish, in my opinion. But that's just, it is what it is. Similar to this year, but when you sign Judge and Sanchez, they will be over unless, the CBA. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what the CBA agreement is going to unfold. And this is a proposal, you know, that's part of it. So that's now a part of it. So there's going to be some adjustments. I just don't know what. I don't see a salary cap in baseball. I don't see the floor going down. I mean, that threshold going down to 180. It was already set to go up for a couple of years. So that's to be a drastic drop. And again, it's not fair to penalize the higher spending teams when the lower spending teams refuse to spend. It's not fair. It's not fair. So why they get rid of Wetland and make Mariano? Well, exactly. That's why they got. I mean, that's one reason. And Mariano, I mean, look, he's the greatest closer of all time. So I would have gotten rid of anybody from Mariano Rivera, knowing what we know now. So, but it was really stressful. I'm glad they won the World Series that year, but that was a stressful year with Wetland, man. Will the Yankees go over luxury tax? No, Cashman made the move specifically to stay under the luxury tax, and so they could reset back to 20. Brandon reset back to 20% because they're in the 30s right now, I think, in the middle. So they went over to get Cole and then a couple other guys this past year. So, but he made these moves specifically to get under it. And I actually don't know how he stayed under it with all the guys that he brought in. He got Texas to eat all of Gallo's money and Joelly's money. He got the Cubs to eat Rizzo's. I don't know how he did it, but he worked his magic. And he only added like $2 million to the payroll. So there's still like $2 million under the threshold. And now no more deals can be made. So they're going to stay under it until next year and reset back to 20%. So brilliant financial planning by Cashman. I'll give him that. Yeah, Ray, great win, man. Aaron, oh man, Andrew Hart. It would be nice, man. That's a good question, Aaron. I mean, I'd like him, but I mean, he's another one. I think he needs to go to the minors, just like Clint Frazier when he comes back. They need to go to the minors and show that they're ready to contribute again. That's the only way I let them back. They need to show that they can stay healthy because both of them have major league bats. But again, who are they going to replace? That's the question. Like, who in the world are they going to replace? So especially when things are clicking right now, I don't want to mess with the dynamic. But they have to show in the minor leagues that they can contribute at AA and AAA. It doesn't. And again, these guys don't represent fits now with Gallo and some of these other guys. I mean, where would you fit them unless they're tearing the cover off the ball? It doesn't make sense to replace somebody else with them. And it sucks, but it's just the reality. And Cashman has to make these moves because these guys can't stay healthy. We still don't know what the hell's going on with Frazier and Andujar. I mean, these guys have been injured forever. So Cashman has to make these moves. He has no choice. So it is what it is. I mean, now they're going to re-sign Rizzo if they don't go. Yeah, I mean, again, Brandon, I think the only way they re-sign Rizzo is if they move Voit. Otherwise, I can foresee it becoming a problem. And Voigt's made it clear that he was unhappy already, like with that stuff, and he wants to make sure that he's not being sat on a regular basis. And I don't blame him. He's got his bat's productive. So, if they could find a way to play both of them, I'm all for it. But they're gonna have to do something with the roster. I just don't know what. So, yeah, man. All got our sights on. Yeah, you damn right, Jason. We definitely have our sights on Tampa, no doubt. Sights on Tampa. We're going after them. And if we fall short, at the very worst, they win the wild card. At the very worst, right? So either way, they're in a much better position now than they were a month ago. No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it, man. So package for Berrios. Brandon, I don't disagree at all. I would have moved Voit for probably only 2 players, Berrios or probably Luis Castillo, who's pitching like Luis Castillo again. A frontline starting pitcher is the only person I would move Luke Voit for because his bat's valuable and because he has several years of cheap control. That's a lot of value. So I don't see the point in trading him for anybody else. It's got to be a frontline starting pitcher. And it's probably the only scenario where I trade Gleyber Torres too. Frontline starting pitcher. Getting a co-ace behind Cole, absolutely critical. But if they don't have to do that, if they can bring in a Justin Verlander in the free agency this offseason, take a flyer on him with maybe a mediocre salary with a boatload of incentives to raise his salary, I would jump on that in a heartbeat. Instead of having to trade Voit or Torres, when you can get Verlander or somebody like him for money, I'd do it. But I'm curious to see what he does in the offseason. That's when he does his better trades. So I'm really, really curious. But I think they can get a frontline starting pitcher for Voit. I really do. I do. My 2 targets would have been Berrios and Castillo. I still think, but I don't know. It depends if the National League, if they agree on a DH for the National League, it makes sense to go for Voit because he's not going to replace Joey Votto at first base. They have Votto, and he's on a long-term contract. So if they get a DH and it's still up in the air, if National League adopts a DH, then you have 15 teams who could use Voit like that. It makes it much more attractive for these teams. So, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm really curious, but as long as he's healthy and playing well, he'll be a valuable asset. And I hope, Bassett injury, Laureano suspension is going to hit the A's pretty good. That sucks, 80 games, but it's his fault. I hope Bassett comes back healthy, but I think the Yankees can beat the A's in a wild card game. So, Yo Elvis, what do I think about putting Gio at shortstop and Odor at third if Torres struggles? Also gives another lefty. Well, so to me, Gio's a better shortstop. He's got better range laterally, and he covers more ground than Torres does. I would put Gio at short, Odor at third, but then what do you do with if you put Torres at second? What do you do with DJ? Or do you rotate Odor and put DJ at third? Because you still have Rizzo and Voit at first base. There's a logjam for the Yankees, and that's the problem. It's a good problem to have, but it's still a frustrating one, a little bit of a conundrum for them. But we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. But, guys, I'm going to get wrapping up. We've been going for a bit now, but thank you, as always, for coming on. I appreciate your comments. Love your support. You guys are the best. I'll see you guys tomorrow night for a recap after the Twins game. Over and out. Peace.